What is going on, good people of YouTube? Welcome to another concept video. This concept video is going to be another MMO concept, and it's not just going to be a MMO concept every concept video, but I just want to talk about MMOs because I like MMOs. I mean, who doesn't like a good MMO, you know what I mean? This one here is Doomguard. Now, I've actually done ones about Doomguard in the past. I did a tier list about the different types of characters within Doomguard, and you should be able to go back and watch that live stream. So, Doomguard is set in the sprawling, gritty metropolis of Liberty City, a world inspired by Pinnacle Entertainment Group's Doomguard board game. Well, they call it Liberty City. It's inspired by Necessary Evil, I guess, from Savage Worlds. Liberty City teeters on the brink of cosmic collapse, plagued by eldritch horrors, demonic incursions, and alien invasions. The city is a dynamic, open-world environment with districts ranging from neon-lit downtown skyscrapers to eldritch-infested slums and high-tech corporate enclaves. Cracks in reality pulse with mythos, energy, and the Doomguard, a fragile alliance of superheroes, supervillains, and anti-heroes, stands as humanity's last defense against apocalyptic threats like Cthulhu, the Legions of Hell, and the Visori aliens. So, the core concept, that was kind of the setting. This is the core concept now. Doomguard, it would be called Doomguard. I'm thinking Doomguard Rise of Liberty, or it could just be called Doomguard Online, it doesn't really matter. It would be a cooperative focused MMORPG where players take on the roles of customizable superpowered guardians. So both heroic and villainous, tasked with defending Liberty City from existential threats. The game blends fast-paced, dynamic, tactical combat with deep character customization, with a dynamic world, and which I think would be influenced by player choices. So, I mean, yeah, it's the alliance between the heroes and villains can be pretty uneasy. And there's a corruption mechanic that challenges players to balance power and morality. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty cool game in itself. I like it, you know, it's cool. Now let's get into the key features. So it would be a dynamic open world game. So Liberty City is a massive open world hub divided into 10 districts, each with unique landmarks. So there's mythos. A unique landmark would be like mythos tainted docks, a corporate spire, or Hellgate slums. These districts are inspired by the board game directly, which within the board game, it certain areas can be corrupted with the Cthulhu taint or demonic taint or whatever. Yeah, basically that. So like, this one building becomes tainted, and now, this area is hostile when it wasn't before, and, so on and so forth. You have dynamic events. So the way what I'm thinking with this one is there would be cosmic rifts that spawn minions, so either cultists, demons, or Visori drones. Now, there's as of right now, within Doomguard, there are 3 ultimate evils: Cthulhu, the demons of hell, and the Visori. And each one has a different way about doing things. So Cthulhu is very kind of like Eldritch and whatnot. I assume that like the demons are very like, you know, take over everything, stuff like that. Visori, they probably just like this as send down drones and whatnot. There will be public. So yeah, when they spawn minions, they can spawn them across the city, which can do things like creating public events where players must team up to close the portals or defeat bosses. These events would scale based on player participation. So basically RNG. You know depending on how active the players are and whatnot. Sorry, I just took a drink real quick. Yeah, RNG. So based on how active players are, will determine how often or how much these events will scale. Yeah, and then it would be accessibility. It would basically just be accessibility for solo players or large groups. You have environmental interaction, so players can use the environment tactically, so they can destroy buildings for cover, swing from skyscrapers, or harness mythos energy for temporary buffs. Locations can become fully corrupted, flipping to nightmarish versions with tougher enemies and altered mechanics. Again, this is the kind of the chaos taint, or not the chaos taint, the corruption taint of either Cthulhu or, you know, the demons and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, it would just be tougher enemies, tougher, you know, a lot more difficult to kind of deal with, stuff like that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Now we have character creation and customization. So players can choose from archetypes like Blaster, which is an energy-based ranged archetype. You have the tank, so durable melee. You have the trickster, stealth, mobility, mystic, mythos-powered spellcaster. Each archetype has unique powers inspired by Savage Worlds directly, which are the same people who made this game, the Savage Worlds, which Savage Worlds is made by Pinnacle Entertainment Group. And Pinnacle Entertainment Group are the ones that made Doomguard. Players can decide whether their guardian is a noble hero or a self-serving villain, or they can be morally gray, a morally gray anti-hero, which will affect, depending on where they go, will affect the dialogue and the faction alliances, and even the story itself in certain cases. Yeah, so there's power customization, so it would have a deep power system, so you can have powers like telekinesis, fire manipulation, or even eldritch summoning itself. And they can be upgraded with corruption, which would enhance strength, but risking a crazed state with unpredictable consequences. So it's kind of a not a give or take. It's like a flip of the coin. Flip of the coin. You know, it can be really good or really bad, one of the two. Yeah, man, it's pretty cool, you know? Like, I'm also imagining the power customization as being something like where you can you can create like your own, like if you want to. I mean, I don't know if you could do it or not, but like, you know, it would follow the traditional superpowers, you know, so like you can make like a Superman type, or if you want to make like some crazy stuff like Santa Claus as a as a part of the Doom Guard, you can do that too, you know. Um, yeah, it's pretty cool. The um, yeah, so extensive options for, again, extensive options for costumes, including capes, armor, and mythos-infused aesthetics, which players can unlock skins like the Crazed Ogre through in-game events or achievements. You have, so this is the now we're getting into the corruption mechanic. So, the core mechanic itself for corruptions: players gain corruption by using powerful abilities, defeating cosmic enemies, or interacting with mythos artifacts. Corruption can boost abilities, but risks flipping a guard to their crazed side, unlocking new powers with a negative effect. So, basically, a vigilante would become reckless, causing collateral damage, stuff like that. Players can choose to purge corruption through heroic acts, so saving civilians, or they can embrace it for villainous power, affecting their reputation and interactions with NPCs and other players. So it can get to a point where damn, my voice. It can get to a point where eventually you become, the NPCs within the world become hostile towards you. Again, going back to that one game I mentioned, the last concept series. I still have not, still haven't found the name of that game, but it's an MMO kind of along the same lines as this, where like your name will turn red, and now you're hostile. You know, like you're, or well, by NPCs you are, and by other players too. You're hostile. You know, that's it. And you can kind of come out of it and whatnot, because you can do heroic acts again. Yeah, and so high corruption levels in a district can trigger fully corrupted events, transforming the area and spawning tougher enemies. So it can impact the world around you as well. Which this would require coordinated player efforts to cleanse it. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. Now we're getting into the cooperative gameplay and tactical combat. So players can form squads between 2 to 5 guardians to tackle story-driven campaigns. So like thwarting, basically thwarting Cthulhu's cultists, or repelling Visori invasions, or battling Hell itself. Missions can include objectives like rescuing hostages, destroying Mythos portals, or defeating ultimate evils, so bosses like Cthulhu and Visori, the Visori warlord, and the devil himself. Some of the tactical combat, so it would be fast-paced. The combat would be fast-paced and skill-based, with mechanics inspired by Doom's fluid movement and Doomguard's tactical depth. Players can combine melee, ranged, and super-powered attacks with abilities tied to a resource, so either energy or Mythos essence. You have asymmetric roles, so each Guardian's role, so it's tank, for absorbing damage, or you can have mythic, Mystic, which is debuffing enemies and whatnot. This would encourage kind of teamwork because it's an asymmetric role. Players must strategize to counter unique minion types, so tentacled crawled ones, either tentacled crawling ones, or the shrieking Bayaki. There we go. Yeah. So some of the campaigns and expansions. So the base campaign would be a 10-act campaign where players unravel a conspiracy involving powered teleportation tech and Cthulhu's awakening. The campaign is replayable with randomized events and dialogue choices. 2 additional campaigns, which would either launch with the game or would come out as individual expansions as time goes on. So similar to like World of Warcraft, where World of Warcraft they'll release an expansion every like 1 to 2 years, you know. So you have your Legions of Hell, which you would battle demonic forces crawling from the abyss with new guardians and minions like a succubus. And then you have your alien invasion, which you face the Visori from Necessary Evil. Necessary Evil is another Pinnacle Entertainment game, and it plays similar to like Deadlands. I don't know, I might do a concept video about that in the future, but we'll see. So the Visori would have high-tech enemies and new scenarios. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool, you know, I like it. I guess if you wanted to, I don't know if this would fit. But I added it anyway, because I thought, why not? You could have planned expansions that would include Deadlands and 50 Fathoms, introducing new factions and enemies. Me personally, I'm just gonna keep it Doomguard IP specifically. Maybe like you could have like, you know, players that mod the game and they add stuff like that. But I don't know if that should be like a base game or a vanilla game expansion, me personally. So next up we have the PvP and social features. So you have battle mode arena, so it can be a 2v1 or a 3v3 PvP mode inspired by Doom Eternal's battle mode, where players control guardians or powerful minions like the Bayaki or Visori Commander in fast-paced arena battles. You have guilds and factions, so in this game, they probably, instead of being called a guild, so players can join. So in this one, instead of being called a guild, it would probably be called like a league or something, you know, something along that line, something that sounds heroic. Players can join or create guilds or leagues, as I would call them in the game, to compete for control of districts, unlock exclusive missions, and share resources. So factions like the Doomguard Council to Cthulhu's Cult offer unique quests and rewards. So you have a social hub. So a central hub, the Watchtower, lets players trade gear, customize characters, and plan missions. It includes mini games like Power Duels and Mythos Trivia. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, I like it. You could you could have a cross-media tie-in as well, where the MMO includes a digital Doomguard RPG book for Savage Worlds, which is accessible in-game, where players can export their MMO characters to tabletop sessions with stats and corruption levels carrying over. Community content, you can have a snap map style editor, which would be inspired by Doom 2016, which lets players create custom missions, share them online, and rate others' creations. Next up is the progression and economy. Leveling system players earn XP through missions, events, and PvP, unlocking new powers, gear, and edges, which are special abilities. That's an edge. It's a special ability. You can craft and loot as well. So collect mythos artifacts, tech schematics, and demonic relics to craft gear like power armor or eldritch weapons. Loot drops are randomized but tied to enemy types, so Visori drop tech, or cultist drop mythos items. And then I think, honestly, this would be a game that's free to play, in my opinion. And it would have a cosmetic-focused cash shop, so costumes and emote. And it'd be pretty cool, you know? You can also have it where you can have a subscription that like is optional, you know what I mean? Depends on like how good the game is, really. But yeah, that's it. That's that's everything, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's the end of my list. Thank you for listening to this nerd rave about nerdy crap. Yeah, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. If you were gonna do a Doomguard MMO, how would you do it? What would you do? And what would be your main selling points for the game? But yeah, I appreciate your viewership. I appreciate you liking and commenting. And I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.